Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Michigan, New Jersey, Tennessee, and Virginia. Listen up. WynnBET is now live in all these states, and the excitement of Wynn Las Vegas has finally landed in online sports betting and casino play. From boosted parlays to live in-game offs on every major sport, WynnBET gives you the tools to win. Sign up today for your risk-free $1,000 sports bet. Download the WynnBET app now or visit wynnbet.com to start winning.
You're listening to Building the Broncos with Nick Kendell and Carl Dumler, Broncos country's leading draft and scouting analysts. Get on over to milehighhuddle.com to sound off on all things Broncos.
Tuesday night, and welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. And you guys, it's not a mirage. It's not a cardboard cutout. It's not a replay loop pre-recorded. We are joined by Carl Dumler today, who has come back to the United States, obviously, and is once again with us for Building the Broncos on Tuesday night. Carl, missed you, buddy. Glad you're here. Scott did a great job filling in for you, but I see enough Scott during the days, the morning time. It's AM for Scott, and so PM for Carl. Carl, it's great to have you in here. Man, I missed you. Good to see you.
Yeah. I've missed being part of this show and obviously seeing you, Nick. It's been too long, way too long. And my wife all day, she's like, when does your show start? Because I'm going to have to stop talking to you then. And I've been just trying to catch back up on all the Bronco news because I really haven't had the ability to follow the Broncos. I've been able to be on Twitter a little bit, some Facebook stuff, read a few articles, but for the most part, I've been a little bit out of the loop. And so I'm kind of excited that today I got back into it. Unfortunately, of course, I'm getting back into the loop after a loss, which really stinks. And watching that game and watching that interception on fourth down to end the game, it was tough to see. But you know what? I know coming in here, you guys always bring me back up, always remind me of just how fun it is. Just even when the team is not always doing great, it's always fun to get to talk about the Broncos with all of you. So very excited to be back and very excited to talk some Broncos tonight.
Yeah, really excited to have you back, and everybody's saying welcome back, Carl. The band is back together, and we do have Scott working behind the scenes too, so it's good to see. Why not Carl and Scott? Because you guys are stuck with me forever. But no, it's the bad takes flow. But no, it's great to see you guys. I guess we should get into things here. Obviously, this is Building the Broncos. We're coming at you guys live every Tuesday night at 6:00 Mountain Time. You guys can follow Carl and myself on Twitter, Carl at Carl Dumler MHH, and myself at Nick Kendell MHH. Make sure you guys are also following us at BTB Football Pod and at Mile High Huddle. Guys, get your swag on. Go over to huddleuppod.com and get our gear. I mean, I have all the hats here. I might as well just wear all of them at once. I got the, which one is which? Broncos for Breakfast hat, the Mile High Insiders hat, the Building the Broncos hat. I got the mug came in the mail yesterday too. So all excited about the gear. You guys can also rock that by going to huddleuppod.com. Guys, if you're joining us on Facebook today, go to facebook.com/Mile High Huddle, become a supporter today, and also join us at facebook.com/Mile High Huddle Pod. We got Peter Middleton coming in here too saying, Carl, congrats on everything. It's great to see your positive face.
Well, thank you, Peter. I really appreciate that. And I really have missed all of you guys. It's just not the same every Tuesday. Well, I guess I was island living. And so like every day blends in with each other. You kind of forget which day it is, but every once in a while I'd remember it's Tuesday. I'd go, oh, I don't get to hang out with my guys. So like I said, it's exciting to be back, and I appreciate all the comments I'm reading here and all the comment section. Like I said, you guys are the best, and reminds me every single time why I love Tuesday nights the best.
Tuesday night is great, and obviously it's for Building the Broncos. If you guys are joining us today, it's not just Tuesday night, though. It's every single night, pretty much every morning, too. Tuesday and Thursday mornings for sure. We're going live. If you guys are joining us on YouTube, please subscribe, like, and share. If you're joining us on Facebook today, click those thumbs up as well. And speaking of you, YouTube and Facebook folks, we do have another massive giveaway going on right now for you contributors to the show. We are raffling off a Patrick Surtain II number 2 jersey once we hit 250,000 stars, or 23% there. We're moving there slowly but surely, but hopefully we can close the gap there. And if you guys are donating the stars, you get a chance to get a Patrick Surtain jersey. In the top 5 donators on YouTube will get a chance as well. And our top star donators right now, we got Randy Jones has taken first place. Randy, look out, with Mama Moody in second there. friend of the show, Michael Ronquillo, there at 3rd. Lawrence Rivera, thank you so much at 4th. Shane Daniels, always great to see Shane at 5th place. Andrew Lampy, 6. Peter Middleton, who's already joined us today, good to see you at 7. Tim Hoffman at 8. We got Josh Hoyle. Josh, I have not seen much Josh, so good to see Josh there. And Howie freaking Day there at 10. Gary Leeds Palmer coming in there right behind him. So obviously things are heating up here. The more stars you get in, the better chance you have to win a Patrick Surtain, the 2nd jersey. And man, has Patrick Surtain been the Broncos' best cornerback so far this season as a rookie? That's probably something you don't want to see. And speaking of stuff you do want to see, though, Josh Hoyle coming in with the stars here over on Facebook, looking super snazzy with the tux. Looks like it's like a Carl. You and I should start doing the shows in tuxes. We can do like Step Brothers kind of stuff going on. That was our original image that I made. That looked really just our heads were way too big, but it was for the laugh.
Listen up, Broncos country. TickPick should be your first choice to buy football tickets because they save fans money by never charging any service fees ever. TickPick is the exclusive ticketing partner for the Huddle Up podcast and the Blue Wire Network.
Denver Broncos football is finally back, and there's no need to exhaust yourself searching all over the internet to find Broncos tickets anymore. Because TickPick, that's TickPick, is the original no-fee ticket site and the only one you'll ever need as your go-to for all NFL tickets. TickPick got rid of all those awful service fees that the other ticket sites charge, which lets them guarantee the best prices on all of their NFL tickets. Don't believe it? If you can find better prices for the same seats on another ticket site, TickPick will give you 110% of the difference in the purchase price.
That's right, guys. When we were searching for tickets for the MHH meet and greet for Week 3 at home, Broncos versus Jets, TickPick had us locked down. So visit tickpick.com/huddle today and use the promo code HUDDLE to save $10 on your first order of Broncos tickets.
But thank you so much for the stars there, Josh. That's super nice of you, and we really, really appreciate that, keeping the lights on in here. So big time stars from Josh. God bless you. Let's get into this. Carl, you can kind of read over the comments here. Muhammad saying, welcome back, St. Carl. Scott's the man. Yeah, we definitely appreciate Scott for joining us, and it's been great to see. Scott saying hack is the right word, dude is the hack. But self-deprecation jokes. See, Scott, that's why we get along. If you can't make fun of yourself, you make fun of yourself first, so that way nobody can hurt you. I've already said it, so you can't hurt me. But Carl, I'm going to shift here to a more serious note here. With the Las Vegas Raiders. Obviously, if you've been living under a rock essentially, so I'll bring you up to speed. A bunch of emails with racist, misogynistic, sexist. I mean, all the words were in there. And John Gruden has resigned from the Las Vegas Raiders last I see, not fired. The NFL kind of forced the hand of the Raiders, but man, talk about turmoil. The week before the Broncos game, John Gruden is officially out in the Raiders. And I think their special teams coach is now the interim head coach for that team as they come to Denver for what is a must-win game for both teams. Honestly, a must-win game for both the Raiders and the Broncos.
Yeah, both teams seem to be going in a bad direction. Obviously, just coming off losses and just not looking great. And then just John Gruden information. That was the first thing that popped up when I got to the airport, to Atlanta. First thing I see when I come into the country is John Gruden, not fired, like you said, resigned. He was pretty much told, you are out of here kind of thing. So I was just like, what in the world has happened in the world since I've been gone? Like I said, I've been living under a rock, and now John Gruden's gone. I thought this guy with his 10-year contract was about as untouchable of a coach as there is in the NFL. Even, he's been terrible. The Raiders have been a terrible team. And so it was a little bit of a surprise, but like you said, there's no room for that, especially in today's NFL and today's world, really. You just can't stand for that. And I don't care that it was 10 years ago, that there was plenty of it. It's not like this was a one-time mistake, some kind of joke. It's this guy really showed some true colors in a lot of that. And so he made the right decision to step down. And yeah, there we go. That's the picture. That's the money right there.
Terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. My mom said, what are you doing? That is not a good look for you. I'm like, you know what? We're here for the laughs. Again, if we can do it first, then nobody can beat us. But we want to say hello and thank you very much to Shiloh Smith coming here with $5 over on YouTube. And then, boom, $5 again over on YouTube, adding up to $10. See, I promised there'd be no math, but here we are. What would have to happen for Drew to get another chance at the starting job? Teddy Bridgewater would need to get injured, which nobody should be pulling for injury, but that's probably what needs to happen there. Or the Broncos are rudderless in the last, 5 games of the season. They're pretty much out of playoff contention. And the team is like, okay, we have 2 years of control with Locke. We only have 1 year of Teddy. We probably need to see what we have with Drew there just to, flesh out all options and see what happens there. But if specifically for the Broncos, that's probably the most likely. I could see Drew Lock getting a chance to compete for another quarterback competition for a team. Let's say the Eagles trade for Deshaun Watson, and then some like Houston trades for Jalen Hurts, and then Jalen Hurts picks up Drew Lock too. Jalen Hurts versus Drew Lock quarterback battle. It's that kind of situation right now. But it doesn't seem like the NFL at large is super high on Drew Lock. We saw that when he fell all the way to the second round, the way people talk about him outside of the Broncos organization. So he could have a shot, but it's probably going to have to happen through extenuating circumstances to get there.
Yeah. Especially with the Broncos. I can tell you, before I left, I knew this was the case, and I think it still is today. Teddy Bridgewater is absolutely loved by this coaching staff. Loved.
And teammates.
Yeah, and teammates too. And so it would take a lot for them to make that kind of decision to bench Teddy. And I don't think you can really point at Teddy as being the main problem these last couple games.
Yeah.
He got hurt in the game before this one, and this last week, it just the offense was flat there at the beginning of the game. Some bad penalties, just a lot of things went wrong to lead up to that. Yeah, you just got to wake up, not wait till the fourth quarter to finally look good. But we got Naj Altaf coming in here with a 1999 super chat. Really appreciate that, Naj. That's wonderful to see. Hey, brothers, do you think this Gruden news will galvanize the Raiders and help them play with more purpose? As for the Broncos, what's up with Fangio's defensive scheming? Feel like the pass rush is off and coverage is poor.
Two-part question here, but when you contribute $20, you can ask as many questions as you want. Honestly. The Raiders help them play with more purpose. I feel like it could go either way. The thing that does make this interesting is that it's still Gruden's buddies and staff that are the coaches there, right? It's just Gruden is gone. He's an issue, but it's still like his guys are the ones that are the coaches and leading there right now. So there could be some issues there. Now, could it galvanize them and push them forward? Absolutely. I mean, this is a team that could rally around like Derek Carr say, like he becomes the dude there rather than Gruden. Definitely possible. But I would say it's more likely to go the other way. God, biting my tongue even saying that, because it seems like the Broncos are everybody's get right game right now. And to talk about a team that needs a get right game, it's probably more the Raiders, even more than the Broncos. So that makes me scared. What do you think, Carl? Galvanizing here, dealing with the adversity of what's going on for that organization.
I think this is going to be too much chaos for them. I really do. I mean, this is bad. And this is going to be all that anybody wants to talk about. There's going to be very little football talk. I just think this is one of those games where if the Broncos have to win this one, right? I told somebody a couple weeks ago, they have to win one of the two between the Raiders and the Steelers if they really want to be a playoff contender. Obviously lost to the Steelers, got to win this one. Can't be 3-3 after starting 3-0. But so I think the Broncos have a lot of motivation. And I think the Raiders, like I said, they're just going to be kind of in a weird place. And like I said, with that coaching staff being all Gruden guys, I don't think players are going to want to really rally with that kind of group. And as for the second question here, what's going on with Fangio's defensive scheming? I think some of it is, you've had a few injuries to some pretty key players. Chubb, Josie Jewell is more of a key player than a lot of people realize.
Ronald Darby.
Yeah, Ronald Darby was, from everything I heard, he was looking like the best cornerback in training camp. Yep. And so for him to go down, when he comes back, I think we should have a talk about whether Kyle Fuller is the guy that gets benched. If we're going to be at 3 cornerbacks on the field, I think he's the guy that should be on the bench, not our rookie, Patrick Surtain. Because like I said, he's played pretty good. He's had some moments up and down.
Yeah.
But Fuller, it just seems like every game he starts off terrible, gets a little bit better as the game goes on, but seems to give up some big plays and just makes a lot of really stupid decisions. If you're going to go for the pick, you better come down with the pick,
Yeah.
Because if that other guy catches it, now there's nobody to stop him. They're at the beginning of the game. He makes a lot of really risky decisions, and he doesn't have the athleticism to make them like he did a few years ago. And
yeah, man.
so
Cornerbacks, man, it's a position where they can fall off pretty hard, and he's not even 30 yet, and it already looks like he's lost his step. So I actually have an interesting question for you, and I have already Fuller to me is the fourth corner based on what we've seen for this team. But when you're talking about dime packages with 6 defensive backs out there, this might be blasphemy. This might be, a little bit of a hot take. I'd rather see 3 safeties with Caden Stearns out there than Kyle Fuller right now. I think Caden Stearns bringing more click and close ability, playmaking ability than what we're seeing off Fuller. And I'll mix and match Callahan, Surtain, and Darby with the 3 safeties versus what I'm seeing from Fuller right now, who's probably more limited to purely boundary.
Well, and Kyle Fuller he doesn't seem all that interested. I feel like there's times where I'm watching him on the field and watching his body language, and he's just not getting himself set. He's not really just focused in on each play. It just seems like he's kind of pick and choose when I'm going to be good, when I'm going to not be. And he's just, man, for a guy that was an all-pro cornerback just a few years ago, to be this far off. And like I said, I don't think it's all just because his athleticism has gone down. I think it is a little bit. He just is a little upset that maybe the NFL doesn't view him like he views himself, and upset that he got cut. I don't know what's all going on there, but he's not looking good. And like I said, Caden Stearns, he's been outstanding for a rookie. Yeah, I did not expect that from this kid this quick. I thought he needed a year or two of grooming to kind of become something here in the NFL. And boom, he's jumped on the scene, been all over the field, looks athletic, everything you want to see from a guy in that position. So I'm with you. I'd rather leave him on the field. He seems very interested in being a great player, and I love that secondary with him on the field.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He's dynamic. Him and Kareem Jackson are probably the more physical players back there. Not that Justin Simmons isn't physical. He's just more of a rangy player with his height and length. That makes a bigger difference. But Stearns coming downhill has been a pleasant surprise, and I like to see some more of him going forward. But you can't take Kareem off the field, right? So got to get a little bit imaginative there. Bringing it back to Gruden here. I also want to give a shout out to Michael Ronquillo, it's his birthday today. So everybody in the chat, make sure you're wishing Michael Ronquillo a very happy birthday. We did so this morning as well, but he's joining us again. So we want to make sure to give a shout out to him. Happy birthday to you, Michael, and hope you're having a great one. So bringing it back here to Gruden, you're talking about this being a must-win game for the Broncos. Well, let's talk scenarios here. Broncos win this game. What does it look like for the rest of the season? What's the trajectory of this team going forward? Obviously, Cleveland coming up right after that on a Thursday night game. Broncos quickly could be looking at it 3-4 if they lose this game, but winning it, what does this mean for this team going forward?
Well, I mean, you got to get, like I said earlier, about a get right game. You got to get right. You got to get a little more confidence going. This team is it looks like they've lost some confidence that they had earlier in the season. It's amazing how quickly things can change in the NFL, going from one of the most confident, best looking teams in football to now looking like a team that's just struggling on both sides of the ball and special teams as well. And just making a lot of mental mistakes. I mean, this past game, what were there? There were like 4 or 5 plays that cost the team points that were just stupid. I mean, your running back spiking the ball after a big run and going from 1st and goal at the 1 or 2 yard line to now 1st and goal at the 7 or 8 yard line, and changing how you're going to have to call those plays. Pass interference on 3rd and 15 to give up a touchdown, 4th down field goal, and you climb on the back of one of the blockers, and instead of it being a field goal, all of a sudden it turns into a touchdown. So just a lot of really stupid mistakes that this team is making right now that if you really want to be a playoff contender, you can't be doing.
Yep, I totally agree with you. So if the Broncos lose this game, what is the perspective going forward? I mean, it'd be time to panic for me if that happened. And if you're looking at then 3-4, I can't remember off the top of my head. Somebody in the chat can probably get me the game after the Browns. I mean, maybe even a 5-game losing streak after that, after the Browns game as well, could be really issue. I mean, we're talking about major shifts here coming for the team if that happens. Not only at the coaching staff, maybe a quarterback change as well, because maybe getting a spark there. And then maybe a fire sale again. I mean, we know how much Peyton loves his picks. I mean, that's really, I mean, this game is a turning point for the entire season. I can't overstate that enough. We built in goodwill, good fortune, whatever, the first 3 games to get that start. Now we've lost 2 in a row. looked really bad against the Ravens. Honest to God, probably should have beat the Steelers. Sleepwalking the first 3 games. I know they got in at like 8 p.m. the night before because they couldn't find a hotel room in the entire state of Pennsylvania or something. So they had to get in there super late. Crazy. Everybody stop getting married. What's going on? But this really is a turning point game. If they do not win this game, it's, abandon ship. And it sucks because I think there's a lot of talent on this team. It's just they don't seem connected to the coaching staff right now in that regard. And there's not a lot of belief in there right now. Like, not to everyone take a drink. Everyone get your drink ready. Coming back to turn into my Iowa Hawkeyes. But like, there's so much belief in each other and the coaching staff in that Iowa Hawkeye locker room. And it does not, I just don't get that sense with the Broncos right now. As soon as that Ravens game happened, it was like, here we go. The fans feel it. The players feel it. I mean, they looked like they got knocked out of the playoffs with the post-game press conferences after that Raven game. So if they lose this game against the Raiders, which they have no excuse to with what's going on, sorry guys, well, start talking 2022 draft, I guess. I don't know. It sucks. They cannot lose. They cannot lose.
No, I'm with you there. This is definitely as about must win as it can be when your team is 3-2. It's just crazy to say. I mean, you still got 2 games against the Chiefs, 2 games against the Chargers. The Raiders aren't an easy team by any means. You still got, I don't know, there's still plenty of other good games against some really good teams moving forward here. So I'm with you. You got to win this one, get back on the right side of things, and at least be at the halfway point looking like you're at least a 500 or better team. Yep. But all right, we got Kika coming in here with a $10. Did I say that right, Kika?
Yeah, I think so. And how's it, Kika? Good to see you.
Yeah, but a $10 super chat. Really appreciate that. Carl is back. Yes, thank you. Aloha, guys. Congrats on the adoption, Carl. Really appreciate that. It's been quite the ride for these last few years, and to finally get to meet the boys and spend time with them. And I got to give them Bronco jerseys. My mother-in-law brought some Bronco jerseys this last week. So got one in a Judy and one in a Von Miller jersey. So very excited about that. But you're a hell of a man. Really appreciate that. I'd rather OJ come back from IR and take Fuller's reps. Honestly, much aloha, Broncos country. # beat the Raiders. Yeah, Fuller, I mean, he's playing himself out of a job. And it's not just this year. He's playing himself. He's on a 1-year contract. Yep. Right now, we were kind of talking to him before the season. What are the Broncos going to do at the cornerback position after this season? Are they going to try to bring back Fuller? Callahan is on his last year of his deal. Callahan has been playing great, honestly. I think he's having a very quiet season, which is really good for a cornerback. Like, everybody's attacking Kyle Fuller. One game, Patrick Surtain really got targeted. So I'd rather bring back Callahan if I bring back anybody at this point. Kyle Fuller, good luck. See you later, buddy. Because, like I said, he's really just all the big plays pretty much have come his way. And OJ, I don't know. He struggled giving up big plays last year too. So I don't know what he is. I'm just hoping Darby comes back and we don't even have to worry about that. Then the secondary can stay healthy and we'll be just good to go from then on.
Yeah, and he's played disappointing so far, given like the pomp and circumstance. Fangio's guy, former first-round pick, All-Pro, first team All-Pro, one of those years with the Bears too. And we said coming into the season, like, I think people are sleeping on Darby and maybe overrating Kendall a little bit. Kendall, that's his name. Kyle Fuller, and his brother's Kendall Fuller. But he's been disappointing. However, it's 5 games into the season. He did miss pretty much the entire offseason, right? Like, he was opting out. So I'm not totally ready to completely bury him, but there's no doubt about it. He's been disappointing for the cost. So not disappointing today at all. Andrew Lampy coming in here, one of our top star givers, and we really appreciate that, Andrew, coming in with the stars here. And always a shout out to you. Cute pick, as always, as I like to say. I always like you guys repping the family. Next step for evolving is having the family rocking the MHH gear. That's next level stuff. But we appreciate you so much, Andrew, and we'll keep them running. And speaking about keeping them coming, Chase Wellner, $5 over on YouTube. Thank you so much, Chase, with the Happy Gilmore picture there. Is it a coincidence we signed an ex-Raider? I assume he doesn't give in any info they don't already have. Some people buy into that conspiracy, though. I mean, Bill Belichick does this all the time, and he'll just cycle through guys that were just released or whatever. Just like, if I can get any competitive advantage, it could be minuscule, but that could make a difference. So I do think there is something to it. Now, To what extent? I mean, your guys got to go out there and execute their own scheme and not make stupid penalties like jumping the line on field goals to have a 4-point swing and catch interceptions that hit your hands twice in the red zone. So, like, that's going to make more of a difference than any of this. But there is something to it, and any sort of competitive advantage you can get, you're going to take.
Right, especially in a must-win game. And I did want to correct, it's Kiaka. Yeah, see, my bad. I really appreciate where we want to get names right. And so I appreciate Jeremy letting us know how to really say it, and always a good thing. Oh, hey, Scott.
All right, I can't take it. Kiaka.
Oh, okay.
Kiaka. Aloha, Kiaka.
Okay.
Aloha. How's it?
Good night, y'all.
Good to see you, Scott. Go back to your hole. No.
Thank you.
We got Paul, too, $20. The orange coming in. I love it. Missed you, Carl. Welcome back. Is Simmons suffering from getting paid syndrome? My thoughts are with Eric and his family. Yeah, guys. Thoughts with Eric and his family. I don't know if you guys saw on Twitter, but yeah. Sorry, that's a real caught me off guard there thinking about that. Is Simmons suffering from getting paid syndrome? Maybe. That's definitely a possibility. I think that's something also to be said about Shelby Harris, right? 2 guys who just got paid, and it's like, okay, where are you? We need you to play. We need you to play better. Simply put, I mean, it's not like these are professionals, and I get it, and they have a lot of things going on in their life, but like this team just, put you on a pedestal, and you need to go out there and execute. And so far, neither of them have lived up to the contracts that you'd expect them to. Like we have undrafted free agents that are making plays more than our top paid players.
Yeah. No, you're right. And that's always the chance you take when a player gets paid. Sometimes they're playing for that big contract, and then it is hard to keep that motivation going once you get it. But we need those players to really step up. This is that time where it's, like you said, it's make or break. And those are the guys that are supposed to be the leaders on your team. And so far, they have not been those guys that have set the tone for everybody else. And so this is the game that we need them. They got to go out there and make some big plays. And, it could be make or break for them of looking at the future with the Broncos. I know they just got paid, but a lot of times when you're getting paid big money, teams are also looking at, can we replace you with somebody cheaper later here a year or 2 down the road too?
Yep. And obviously Simmons is not as, you're not going to find a nicer guy or a better representation in the community than Justin Simmons. But got to play better, right? Like if you're getting paid that big contract and we are sitting where we are, obviously we can't do what he's doing, but you're going to get critiqued. So I don't think it's an unfair to call him out and say that he needs to play better, especially in that back end. Kareem Jackson's been the best safety, and that should not be the case considering the Broncos were fine moving on from him this offseason and brought him back just based on the market not materializing for him. Andrew coming in here, Andrew Baker, rocking the God, is that a Von Miller jersey? I can't see the Facebook logo in the way, but the navy blue. Welcome back, Carl. Congrats. So what are our chances this weekend, Nick? Break it down, but don't hurt me. LOL. Broncos have to win. What are our chances? I would say the chances are good. And also we have stars coming in here from Gary Leeds Palmer. Welcome back, Carl. Love the Nick and Carl show. We love you, Gary. Yes. But the Broncos need to win this week. I would say they have a good chance given what's going on with the Raiders right now. But this is a team that I thought should win last week. They should have won last week. I mean, a lot of advanced metrics say like they should have won. Like they left so many points on the board that shouldn't have happened with the Steelers, or they should have maximized on. They just didn't. So the Broncos should win this game at home. I hope the fans come up and are supportive and loud, right? I don't want to, like, if the Broncos go 3-0 on the first play, I don't want the fans just immediately booing them. It's their right. I just don't want them to be doing that. If you paid for admission, that's, as long as you're not assaulting them and whatever. But the Broncos need to come out and win this game. I don't think the Raiders are that good. I think they came out hot, but I still the back seven, not very good. Their offensive line is bad. Henry Ruggs can kill you. Darren Waller can kill you. But other than that, I mean, I don't know. The Denver's Bronco team is better. The only area where I'm like, okay, well, they definitely beat you there. Derek Carr is better than Teddy Bridgewater. And if it gets into a back and forth battle between the quarterbacks, I think Derek Carr probably wins that. Yeah, probably.
And the Raiders are known for doing this. They start out hot. I don't know. John Gruden is one of the best guys during the offseason. Okay, not one of the best guys. One of the best in planning out and taking what other teams do. He watches a ton of film and says, hey, these plays worked for them. We use them, but they use it up quick. Like they burn through that playbook quick. And then once everybody gets it, everybody's like, all right, yep, we've got you figured out. So I think the last few years they've started out with a winning record and then just slowly saw that chipped away as the season went on. So I agree with you. I think the Broncos, when you're looking at a talent point of view, the Broncos are better. It's home. Raiders just losing their coach. There's a lot of things that are working in the Broncos' favor. And hopefully they're getting some players back. I think Darby should be back this week, right?
Yep, he should be.
Okay.
It was honestly a surprise that he didn't get any snaps last week being inactivated. And I think Ojemudia could be eligible to come back here pretty soon as well. So those are interesting moves that could help the Broncos secondary, which shockingly needs help. God, what's going on? Highest paid secondary in football. Vic Fangio, Ed Donatel. Secondary's not looked very good. I don't know, man. It's been really frustrating. And I know that some people are blaming the Vic Fangio defense, but like we look right across the division of the Chargers, they look pretty darn good when they have to. Granted, they have a quarterback that can go blow for blow with anybody right now. But I don't know. I have a bigger issue with the consistent execution on the back end. They're giving up big plays. This is a defense that's predicated on not giving up the big plays. What are you doing? And the pass rush, the front four, not getting home consistently. Broncos middle of the pack in pass rush win rate. So those together equal a non-top 3 defense, which is what you need.
Right. All right. Well, we got Dennis Woods coming in here with the super chat. Really appreciate this, Dennis. Glad to have you back, Carl. Congratulations. Well, thank you, Dennis. Kind words right there. Nick, go number 2 Hawks. Ooh, I saw the last time they were ranked this high was 1985, before you were born, buddy. They were number 1 in the country. So it's been a while. And looking at their schedule, man, I don't think they play another ranked team until possibly the Big Ten championship.
As far as I know, they could lose to Purdue this week. Braum is a hell of an offensive coach, and they just lost one of their cornerbacks. So I don't know. The Hawkeyes, are they the number 2 best team in the country? I'm a firm believer of you are what your record says you are, but are they going to beat an Ohio State on a neutral field? I'm just enjoying the ride right now and the publicity that comes with it. So I've become a fickle enough fan to understand that the rankings don't mean very much, and you just enjoy it while you can.
Right. And then he did ask when Michael Ojemudia is coming back. We're hoping here. Week. Yeah, it could be this week. The next, I guess then we got the Thursday night game against the Browns there. So it's kind of nice. The team is finally going to start looking like they're going to get healthy here. Knock on wood, everybody. Because Jerry Jeudy should be back here in the next few weeks, hopefully. I was a little nervous. I know we've had a few people ask, what do we think about the John Brown signing? It makes me a little nervous about where they think Jerry Jeudy's at. I know some articles out there have said that it looks like he's ahead of schedule on recovering. But if you're bringing in a guy like John Brown, it kind of makes me think that you're wanting him in the slot, and that's where Jerry Jeudy does his best damage. So
I think it's far more about the dynamic element that KJ Hamler brought. For the speed, and John Brown especially with like slot fades and stuff from the slot position, and getting a receiver who you scheme to not have press that can just blow by, and that matters a lot for decompressing an opposing defense. And I think you're more likely to get that from John Brown. And with how much Shermer likes to use 11 personnel, with how much Teddy is not targeting the tight ends right now as well, which I don't know how much of that is Shermer, how much of that is Teddy Bridgewater, something we're going to talk about here maybe at some point with Noah Fant's target distribution or lack thereof. But I think it's much more about getting a actual guy who can be a game breaker speed wise and make you think twice about playing cover 1 because of the speed that he brings more than Jerry Jeudy. Everything I've heard, and I know, welcome back to the USA, Carl. But everything I've heard is Judy's progressing very nicely and he's ahead of schedule. So I wouldn't even be shocked if we saw him for the Browns game, but I think you're more likely to see him for the following game, which is the long rest with a Washington football team coming up after that.
Okay. Well, that's good to hear. Like I said, I've been under a rock, so I've only read one article that said he was ahead of schedule, but then seeing John Brown signed, of course, they got, was it David Moore that they signed a couple weeks ago? Yep. Just made me think maybe they're thinking he's not going to be returning sometime soon, but hey, I'll take it. I'll take him back, plus those 2 other guys getting more and more used to the playbook. And all of a sudden, you got quite a bit of speed all of a sudden back with your wide receiver group. Looking pretty good.
Yeah, the Broncos' lack of quick hitters and guys who can win isolated matchups quickly and get separation has really been a detriment to this pass game recently. So, I mean, obviously, Tim Patrick's playing incredible football. Cortland Sutton rolled his ankle and played this week, but these are all more slower developing big play receivers down the field where, neither of them are like, going untouched against press and then, getting separation at 1.5 seconds or less. That's not their game. And that's okay. You want to build a basket or a wide receiver core or just pass catchers in general, like a basketball team. But right now the Broncos are out there playing with like 5 power forwards, no ball handlers. So getting Judy back will be very big. They need that guy. Teddy really needs that guy as well.
Yeah, no. And I'm excited for John Brown. I mean, we talked about it when Jerry Jeudy went down. That was a guy that we'd like to see signed. And Corey Johnson coming in here saying PFF rated John Brown 5 points higher than Jerry Jeudy last season. I doubt he's better than Jeudy now, but this could be a good way to bolster the offense short term and long term, honestly, because I wouldn't be surprised if John Brown does pretty decent this year or makes a few plays if they don't bring him back, because KJ Hamler, his injury, I don't know how much he's going to play next year. I really don't. This is going to be a longer recovery than people realize. His speed guys, especially with ACLs, and it sounds like it's ACL and more. Mm-hmm. That's going to be a long recovery to get him back to what he was before. And so John Brown coming in, I think they could get him on another year or two contract, and I wouldn't mind that one bit.
Yeah, I mean, Todd coming in here too saying, don't get me wrong, John Brown signing is nice, but he's a one-trick pony, got speed, not so much with the hands. That's true, but that going in. There's a reason he was available at this point. And the Broncos were not expecting to be losing 2 of their top 4 wide receivers this early. I'm just glad they were able to bring somebody who could bring some ability like that to this. So it's unfortunate, especially what you said about KJ Hamler as well. You're totally right. This is probably something where like we might not see him really until the end of next season. And then he's not even fully healthy until the year after that, which sucks. But it is what it is. Luckily, he's one of the youngest players on this team. And the Broncos still have 2 years of control after this year. So hopefully it'll get better for him because he seems like a great kid as well. And definitely probably the most fun weapon the Broncos have. Like when the ball goes his way, I'm in, just electric. So that'll be great. Do we have any more stars coming in here? Scott? No? Okay. I thought I saw somebody comment on that, but it's great to bring in John Brown. I'm excited to see that. We haven't really talked much yet about this, the Steelers game. And I know that there's been a lot of, I don't want to say exactly vitriol, but some people chastising the Broncos quarterback situation and how Teddy's looked in the Steelers game specifically and the Broncos in general. What are your thoughts so far? Because I'm maybe a little bit more optimistic or apologistic for Teddy's game because I don't think he's been terrible at all. He's been above my expectations, honestly. Yeah. And it's the defense who's let me down. We're paying Vic Fangio all this money, using a first-round pick on a cornerback, and this is the result. Barely top 10 defense. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you. It has been disappointing, and especially the start of games.
Come on.
Oh, we can still hear you. But I don't know if I'm frozen or if you're frozen. Nick froze. Okay. Phew, it's not me. I didn't know, since I haven't used this computer for a while, how it would react. But no, I'm with you. The defense has really been bad to start games. It seems like it takes them a while to get into it, all of them, not just Kyle Fuller, but especially Kyle Fuller. And so then they put the offense in a bad situation where they're already down, 7-10 points pretty quick. And yes, the offense needs to start faster and get some points going, all those kind of things. But it's still something that has got to get fixed if you're going to start winning some of these games. This is a team that's supposed to be predicated on the run game or being able to run the football. Well, you get down 10 points, it gets harder and harder to be able to run throughout the game. And so I'm very disappointed with what I've seen from the defense. Teddy Bridgewater, I am not disappointed with what I've seen from him. He has been pretty good, especially with 2 of his top weapons going down and 2 of the most dynamic weapons going down that have really limited what you can do as a play caller. And, I wish we could see Noah Fant get a little bit more involved in the offense. Like I said, I don't know if that's play calling, if that's Teddy just not always wanting to look for the tight ends, whatever it may be. But you got to get Noah Fant a little bit more involved. Noah Fant's got to be more engaged in the game too. I mean, his run blocking has been atrocious. I don't know what's going on with him. He doesn't look like he's just all that focused in, and maybe it is because of the lack of targets and just being like, I was brought here as this great weapon, and you're not even throwing me the football. I don't know if that's part of it, but got to get something going there. And I don't know. Teddy, he has been calm, collected, has done well of getting the offensive line in the right position. I think one of the big plays yesterday, I can't remember which one it was, but they brought like 6 or 7 on a rush. I mean, just all out blitz. And Teddy had the entire offensive line completely, hey, this is where they're coming. This is what they're going to be doing. And it was just picked up perfectly. I've been very impressed with the pass blocking. They have been very good in that area, but I think part of that's also Teddy. Just getting people right before the snap, also being able to manipulate the pocket. Yeah, he doesn't have the biggest arm. Yes, he's not always challenging down the field like you'd like to see him sometimes do. But for the most part, he is doing what you would ask him to do. And, the end of the game there, he had this team right on the edge of making a pretty incredible comeback. And again, that's where those kind of plays, that 4th down there to end the game, you would love to have a Jerry Jeudy or KJ Hamler with that kind of quickness to be able to get open and be able to make a play. And I think also the officials missed a pass interference call there on one of the fade routes. Man, that should have been easily first and goal at the 1 yard line. But that's neither here nor there. But no, I really have enjoyed watching Teddy. And I think if you get Jerry Jeudy back, you get him paired up with John Brown, I think you can get this offense clicking once again.
Yeah, I agree with you there, and hopefully my internet's better again. The issues with Teddy is he has been throwing it short of the sticks on yards to gain, which is not what you want. Mm-hmm. Now, that is obviously better than throwing it to the other team, which we had a penchant to do last season. If you get the ball to a person short of the sticks, they have a chance to break a tackle and make a play.
Is that me frozen or Nick? Frozen? Oh, okay. Sorry. Nick, you froze again here. So I'll take over here for a second. We do have Peter Middleton coming in here. John Brown is exactly what we need for some speed. Both the club and player obviously see the risk is worth it. I sadly think Hamler will struggle if his long-term injuries affect his speed. Yeah, you're right. I mean, that's why he's in the NFL. That's why he was a second-round pick, was because of that incredible speed, that elite athleticism, quick-footed ability to especially win over the top, but also to win on those quick slant plays that we saw a lot of his time there at Penn State. I like the John Brown sighting. He is 32, so it's not like he's a spring chicken. And those speed guys, when they hit their cliff, I mean, they fall hard. So it would not surprise me one bit to see if John Brown does fall off a cliff here sometime soon. But right now, I think he is exactly what this offense needs, somebody that can threaten over the top and make defenses have to play a little bit more cover 2 instead of being able to go to this cover 1 and take some guys away from the line of scrimmage. Once they lost KJ Hamler, teams just do not respect the Broncos going over the top. But all right, we got John Clay Eventing coming in here with a $5 super chat. Really appreciate that. Says the issue with Teddy is the red zone. He was awful in Carolina in the red zone, and that has followed him to Denver. We need Roman or Dabble and Willis. # Go Broncos. All right, Nick is back. I can't completely disagree with this, but I would also add here, the red zone issues have been some really bad penalties at really bad times. What should be a very positive situation all of a sudden becomes a negative because of a penalty or a really bad sack that happens that really pushes them back, makes it almost impossible to score a touchdown. You've had the 2 big fumbles that have happened in the red zone as well. And so some of these things have not just been Teddy. I would agree that he's not perfect in the red zone by any means. He's not the best red zone quarterback, but I think he's probably closer to average than people give him credit. And the list of coaches that you have here, of Roman or Dabble or Willis, yeah, I would love to get an offensive-minded coach here with the Broncos, especially if you're going to go get yourself a young quarterback. But kind of my thought for this next season is possibly if you can't go get one of the top-tier veterans, of a Russell Wilson or an Aaron Rodgers is bring back Teddy. Maybe use a mid-round pick on a quarterback that you see with some high upside that you can pair with one of these coaches that they can sit there and say, hey, I can develop this guy and turn him into something. If that is Malik Willis, by golly, I'll take that because that guy is electrifying, but just needs somebody that can teach him how to be consistent.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the point I guess I was making was at least you're giving your playmakers a chance to make a play, but Teddy's got to play better on third down. Honestly, the Broncos are losing third downs because they're averaging 3rd and 8. They're losing on 1st and 2nd down and giving themselves a almost near impossible way to win third down. 3rd and 8 is, I think Scott and I were talking this morning, the chances of converting on 8 and anything is like 25%. So you got to do better on 1st and 2nd down. And I want to see him be better in the red zone as well. Now, the numbers in the red zone don't look amazing because against the Jags and the Jets, the Broncos, if it was Peyton Manning down there in the red zone, no doubt about it. I love Peyton. That dude is calling an audible to a pass play. He's not handing it off. He's getting touchdowns in his stat column. No doubt about it. Teddy's handing it off. The Broncos are scoring touchdowns. If they're scoring, it doesn't matter. But that's something that I do think matters, or context wise. But actually, I did want to just a little bit of nuance for you as well. So you made a comment about the Broncos pass protection being good so far. Just some really interesting data here for the Broncos so far this season. So the Broncos, so far, Teddy Bridgewater has been the highest pressured quarterback in the NFL, which is, okay, that's bad. But Teddy Bridgewater has the 5th longest time to throw in the NFL. That's good. And also the Broncos pass blocking win rate is 17th in the NFL, which isn't great, but it's average. So what does that say to you? Add some to that, because that's very conflicting data. Somebody looks at the pass rush or the pressure rate being the worst in the NFL. Oh my God, the Broncos offensive line is trash. What are we going to do? But then you see them being 5th best with time to throw. What's going on?
Well, I think one of it is, like I said, the 2 quick-footed guys that get open in a hurry, both going down with injuries. It does mean that Teddy has to hold on to the ball a little bit longer because you have plays that are a little bit longer drawn up, trying to get Cortland Sutton, Tim Patrick down the field to make some plays or some deep comebacks, those kind of things. I think that's playing into it. I think also Teddy does trust himself in the pocket, that he can manipulate the pocket to buy some time but for a guy to get open. And that's played out, and it's done pretty well most of the time. The last couple games, there's been times it hasn't worked out quite as well as those first 3 games, obviously. And I do think there are times also you've had your 2 guards go down with injury. So there's been some miscommunications that have led to some really bad pressures. And Moody and
Miners,
there you go. Both of them have had their ups and downs. They've had some great plays and some terrible plays all along the way. And they just got to get a little bit more consistent as we move into years in the future. But like I said, overall, I've actually been pretty impressed with what they've done as an offensive line in the pass blocking. Run blocking is a whole nother thing, but that also includes tight ends who have not been great run blockers. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes the Broncos made this offseason is not getting a great run blocking tight end. And that is really, really hurting them bad in the run game.
Yep, I totally agree with you there. And I do wonder how much the Broncos panicked based on what they saw versus the Ravens and how healthy Glasgow and Reisner looked. Glasgow did not look healthy to me out there. Yep. I know that I think he's actually top 10 for the Broncos or in the NFL this year in run blocking win rate, which would be surprising given the Broncos run game struggles. Now, some of that, nobody wants to hear this, but some of that is Javonte Williams. He's been leaving some yards on the field. His vision and patience have not been great. He's still blocking tackles like crazy, but hopefully the game will slow down for a little bit for him. So he can be a little bit better out there with that. But it will be interesting to see what happens. So obviously the Broncos losing that game. I want to go back again to this defense. What is going on with the pass rush? Broncos, I think they're 5th last so far this season in pass rush win rate. I think Malik Reed and Von Miller have some of the lowest double team rates. Now Malik Reed has like the lowest double team rate and his pass rush win rate is really low as well. But Von Miller's pass rush win rate, let's say that 10 times fast, and while the double team rate is low, his pass rush win rate is high. So what's going on? Like why are we not getting any pressure right now?
Well, I mean, I think this is where sometimes last year Malik Reed's stats got a little overrated. Like he got a lot of sacks, but he wasn't always getting a ton of pressure. And, sometimes you just have that where you have a season where your pressures end in sacks. Von Miller has a ton of pressures most seasons, doesn't always get a lot of sacks, but he's still doing his job well. And this is where a lot of people are going, we have to sign Malik Reed. We can't make another Shaq Barrett mistake and let this guy walk. He's not Shaq Barrett. Shaq Barrett had a very high win rate. He wasn't always getting the sacks, but he was winning at a high percentage. And so, they are missing Bradley Chubb quite a bit on that defensive line. And I think some of it also is you're seeing some of the younger guys that are just not always cutting it. Cooper has not been great at all when he comes in as a backup. Von Miller, I've not always been impressed with his decisions this year with where he's trying to rush, how he's trying to attack. I think that'll improve, but there's just been times where I'm like, dude, there was an opening and you kind of tried to slow play it and it was too late. And so there's some of that. I think Draymond Jones, he's been getting into the backfield, but he doesn't know what to do when he gets back there. He's just had times where he actually gets into a great position and then all of a sudden decides to spin back into the block. And you're going, what are you doing, Draymond? He still made a lot of great plays and he'll get there. I still think he's possibly going to be a star here in this league if he can really get some of that vision once he wins what to do with it. And then, like you said, Shelby Harris has been not great this year. You were kind of depending on him being that next veteran once Bradley Chubb went down to kind of show the guys how to do this. There's just not a lot of guys right now that teams are afraid of and say, Von Miller is one that you're still a little bit afraid of, but the rest of them, you're like, what do I have to fear here? And so I don't know if there's just things that they need to do scheme wise because the Broncos don't blitz a lot. And, once you get Darby back, maybe that changes a little bit and you can actually start rushing a little bit more because you trust that he's not going to get beat over the top. I really hope that that's what they do and make teams have to respect it a little bit more. But right now, I think the Broncos are playing a little scared on defense.
Yeah, it's really frustrating because I do believe in the scheme, but it only works if you're getting pressure the front four. And so far, that has not been the case. And like you said, Shelby Harris, disappointing to an extent, but how much of it is what they're asking him to do versus what's actually the outcome of the play, right? If they're asking him to play very disciplined in his gaps and not, be a pressure player, so to speak, through a singular gap, then that changes the perspective of if he's winning or not, right? So it frustrates me to see the Broncos not getting pressure at the front four. I think that's the straw that stirs the drink. Pivoting on this, I feel like this is a question we asked as soon as Vic Fangio came over, and I'm starting to circle back around to it. Is Von Miller not a good fit for what Fangio likes to do? Now, hear me out. I'm just wondering this because obviously Von Miller can beat anybody, and he can win in multiple ways as a pass rusher, but he's not the height, weight, speed, length pressure where he plays through the block, right? It's not that power player where it closes in on you. He's more of a speed around the edge bend player. And I don't know if, because of the way Fangio is sending pressure or lack thereof, if that's maximizing what Von Miller does because he has to be so disciplined in those lanes. Does that make sense? Do you
it does.
It's like Khalil Mack just would go through a guy. That's not as much Von Miller. And I wonder if it's somewhat capping what Von does.
Right. And that's Bradley Chubb. That's what he does.
Yes.
He's the guy that collapses that pocket, and the Broncos are really missing that right now. And so you hope he can be back maybe in December, November. We'll see on his recovery. But yeah, and Jay Roper has it right. Khalil Mack was a good fit for what Fangio wanted to do. He's that perfect rusher for Fangio's scheme.
And the Broncos were interested in moving up for Jalen Phillips, who is 6'6", 270 or something in his last draft as well. So it does seem like that more power end, the Justin Smith, if you will, or even Alden Smith in that draft with Fangio and that the 49ers defense, more of a power player with length than what Von has. Now, Von is still obviously incredible. He's going to get his. I wonder if there's some disconnect for what Von does best versus what ideally Fangio would want for an edge. Yeah,
I think he is the one player, you're right, that maybe doesn't fit it perfectly, but you still wanted to keep him because he's just that great of a player. He changes games.
Hall of Famer.
Yeah, he definitely. So you're right. I think there are times, and that was one thing that really irritated me with the Ravens game. I felt like they were trying to be too disciplined to keep him contained in the pocket. Mm-hmm. And then they just weren't even trying to get any kind of pressure on him. So then he had all day just to sit back there and wait for guys to get open down the field. Now the secondary then was having miscommunications galore in that game, allowing big plays. So it really, really stunk. But yeah, you're right. There have been some real disappointments on the defense from both the coaching standpoint and from player standpoint. This last game against Steelers, a lot of missed tackles. Man, there's a lot of run plays where they had it stopped at the line of scrimmage. And I know Steelers have a good running back. There's a reason he was a first-round pick, all those kind of things. But you can't give up all those extra yards. And I think you put it out on Twitter that part of the reason the Broncos are struggling on third down is because they're not winning on first and second down.
Yeah.
Steelers were winning on first and second down and making third down real easy. When you got a 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, that makes it so much easier than what the Broncos are doing with 3rd and 8. And that's what I'm hoping the Broncos can get to, is where you're winning so much on first and second down. Then all of a sudden, Teddy Bridgewater becomes the perfect quarterback in those situations, because those short throws, his accuracy, it just becomes such a beautiful thing. But right now you're asking him to play beyond what you really know he is capable of.
Yeah, it's frustrating. Obviously we haven't had John here for a little bit. I am curious about this. The chat has kind of somewhat devolved into some Teddy hate versus Locke, but I do want your first 5 games feeling of Teddy Bridgewater so far and what we've seen from him, and just grading him. Like, is this what we expected? Is this more than we expected? Is it a false positive with those first 3 games versus bad teams? Or is it, this offense is already more injured than it ever was last year, right? Like last year you lost Juwan James and Cortland Sutton. That sucked, but otherwise it was pretty healthy. It was the defense that fell apart. And I'm not giving any points to anybody on the offense for losing players on the other side of the ball that you don't even take the field with.
Right.
So that's dumb. So I have more issue with, I think the issue with the injuries this year on offense are heavier weighted than what we've seen, but Broncos have looked really bad against 2 above average defenses the last 2 weeks.
Right. So if I'm just giving like a straight out grade compared to the rest of the NFL, I'd give him about an 80 to 85% grade. Like I said, he's looked good. He's been smart with the football. He hasn't put it in danger a whole lot of times. Like this last game was the first time where I saw a couple throws that I was like, oh, that was a little bit of a dangerous throw, but he was playing from behind. You're going to have to force them
on 4th down.
Right. Yeah. That. I don't even hardly count that one. But if I'm grading on a curve of where I thought he was going to be compared to where he is, I'd put him in like a 90 to 95% range, because I think he really is playing above what I thought he would do this season. And, I really wonder what this offense would be if you had Jerry Jeudy and KJ Hamler. I don't think we're talking about our team losing the last 2 games. I think especially the Steelers game, you're talking about a win, because I think you're winning a couple more of those 3rd downs early in the game and getting some of those drives going really nice there. And so then we're all of a sudden going, wow, Teddy, here he is, because, early in the season, that's what we were saying. Here's this guy, this offense is clicking. They're doing things. They're making plays. They're moving this football like crazy. And they lost those players that really move the ball, unfortunately. And, Cortland Sutton's great, and I hope they re-sign him. Tim Patrick has been great. I hope they re-sign him. But you need some complementary pieces. And, maybe they got that in John Brown. And like I said, Jerry Jeudy's coming back. So I do think this offense is going to get right. Not be like top 10 by any means, but average. And if you compare that with this defense, and the defense can play better than what they've been doing, play to the level that they should be, that's the thing. That this team can actually go out there and still be a playoff team.
Yeah, for expectations, I'd probably give Teddy Bridgewater a solid B for grading him against the curve. That's grading with the curve, but no curve, I'd probably give him a B minus C plus, just because, these games against bigger opponents, you've wanted starting slow. A lot of people put that on the coaches, but like the quarterback's got to play better. I mean, EPA per pass, the first and second quarters of weeks 4 and 5, Broncos dead last in passing EPA per pass. So that's, plenty of excuses for that, but he'd tell you he's got to play better. So that's frustrating to me. One thing I would, and this is easy for me to say, sitting here in my, fat boy chair and drinking a soda after downing some fries before we even started this, right? But I would like to see Teddy use his legs a little bit more too. I feel like, and again, super easy. All these quarterbacks taking massive hits this last week. But if there's room to run in the goal to go situation, people are complaining about the red zone and 3rd down. Teddy's not a non-athlete. He can go out there and pick some up. I'd like to see him do that a little bit more. Again, really easy for me to say from where I'm sitting because, those guys are coming. They're going to hit you big time. But we'd want to see that more so. The one thing, though, I will say the biggest thing coming into this year, and we've talked about it, was the defense. This team cannot turn the ball over like they did last year. I mean, the Broncos were giving away, giving away the ball like, condoms at a freaking like a sex ed class. It's like, oh, you get one. Like, everybody gets a ball. Turning it over last year like crazy. They've been good about turnovers this year. In theory, that should be good enough with the defense. Defense has not lived up to it. But maybe that's the reality of this defense. Maybe they are not a top 3 defense. Maybe they are in that 12 to 8 range, which is not good enough to keep Fangio around, but that's another conversation. Teddy's going to have to play better then. And I just don't know if that's a realistic or feasible ask of him, especially with the offensive line not being one that is one of the few that can actually dictate on offense.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you there.
God, I don't want to put you on the spot there. Never mind. I was going to ask you about how this would play out differently if Drew Lock was the quarterback right now. But who knows, right? Let's not even open that.
That what if? That what if is not a fun one, and everybody's going to have their thoughts on that based on their thoughts of Lock. And I think most people know I was not the highest person on Lock coming into the season, and getting to see him for that half of football where he was still having troubles feeling the pocket, still making some pretty risky throws. Now, given they're playing from behind, all those kind of things factoring into it, wasn't a great game, wasn't a great situation for him to step into. But yeah, I think if Drew started the season, I still think they would have won those first 3 games. I think there's a really good chance that they probably would have. 2-1 maybe.
Turnovers are so big, and then the game can totally change.
It can. It's true.
Or also, like, if you're panicking early, like the Broncos in that Jags game came out and looked flat early, fell behind quickly. What happens from there? Who knows? It's concerning, but who knows? Biggest thing with Teddy, he's protecting the football. That in theory, that with a ball control offense should be enough with the defense, but the defense is not getting it done enough to the extent where that's working for this offense right now. We'll see if that changes. We got a lot of season left to go. The Broncos are 3-2. They're still very much in this. They're not. The Chiefs are the last place in the AFC West right now, guys. Don't forget about that. But this is a game. It's a must-win game with the Raiders, and obviously with Gruden, everything happening there. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. I hope this team, if they lose this game, it's going to suck, right? No doubt about it. I will be pulling my hair out if they come out this week once again, and they come out with as little energy as we've seen these last 2 weeks. That would be an indictment on all the leadership in the locker room, the coaching staff, the organization as a whole. This is a playoff game. The Raiders swept you last year. Everything going on with Gruden too. Like you should want to go in there and like twist the knife, right? Yeah. So like show up, get pumped for this game, or like, let's pack it up. We're done. You have to show up for this game. You have to.
Right.
It cannot be fourth quarter. Can't. Otherwise, dead man walking. I don't typically get that fired up, but like the last few games, they've really just come out sleepwalking. And it's like, what are we doing? You're not good enough to come out here and sleepwalk.
I'm with you completely on that. I think the Broncos, they're tied for the longest streak of not scoring on opening drives
in NFL history.
And yeah, that's terrible. You got to do better. I mean, that's on Shermer for not designing up well to start off a game. You got to come out there with some stuff that makes teams really have to sit back and wait to figure out how you're going to be playing this game. They're not dictating that. They're kind of waiting to see what the defense is doing and then making decisions on what we should do on offense. Can't be that way. You got to dictate what the other team does. Some players, they got to come out a little bit more fired up and ready to go and be ready to make some plays. It seems like our drops happen early in the game. Guys just not quite ready. Well, what do you got to do as a player? Do you got to get up and, go to the jugs machine, make a few more catches? Offensive line, what do you got to do to get more woke up? They got to shake some things up this week. And, it's a home game, so thankfully don't have to worry about the whole hotel fiasco with weddings and everything else. But getting in front of this home crowd, I know they're going to bring it. They still will. The Broncos crowd always does. And the Broncos still have a winning record, and it's the Raiders. You want to come out and see the Broncos destroy the Raiders. But, and Chase, I did catch Javante's angry run, and unfortunately he did the spike at the end. There's so many other celebrations you can do, buddy. The spike is the one thing that they hate.
I think he's talking about against Baltimore.
Oh, yes, I did see that one too. Okay, so I've actually gotten to watch the Broncos games. Over there, their stations are based in New York. So I got to watch the Giants and the Jets game live, which was really cool. And then the other ones I've been able to catch up on since then, just obviously being back here. Game Pass does not work overseas, at least the one that I have. So that was really frustrating. But yes, I've spent today pretty much just catching up on Bronco stuff. That has been my work day. Don't tell my job that. But no, they kind of knew Tuesday was going to be just kind of a catch-up day. So, I've been really impressed with Javonte. Man, that guy, he is, like you said, he's missed some holes. His vision has not been great. But the guy finds a way to pick up extra yards and make up for it in many other ways. And I'm excited once he gets that vision down, he could become one of the top 5 most dangerous running backs in football.
Yeah. Man, he runs angry. He's maybe not the breakaway guy, but if he breaks that first level, good luck tackling him. He's going to punish you. And I'd like to see them use that more. They got to keep running the football and make it situationally make sense too, right? You can't have a play action pass be your first one in the fourth quarter and can't be running on second and 14. So just, I don't know, coaching everybody. Biggest thing, it's such a small thing to ask, but come out and play inspired ball this week. Don't come out flat. This is the goddamn MF and Raiders. And, sorry, I said in vain there, Mr. Preacher, man. But can't come out sleepwalking. I'm trying to be calm in here, but this coming out flat like that is inexcusable. And if it happens again this week, write their name on the tombstone, write the coaches' names in the papers. We're looking for the next guy. It'll be time to move on. And Peyton would probably be the first one to tell you that too. It's not going. So, 3-2. Hopefully things will get a little better here. 2-game losing streak, but the Raiders are coming to town. They are totally dysfunctional, and this is still a team that is very much in control of everything they want to accomplish is still in their grasp. So hopefully they realize that. Hopefully they can rally. Hopefully they can start playing better football, stop making stupid mistakes, and win some football games again because they're going to need it, especially against this Raiders team who swept us last year. Not acceptable. But guys, we love you so much. We're going to get on out of here. Obviously, Carl and I could talk football all day, but Scott's got a life. I know it's probably getting pretty late there for Scott over on the East Coast. I think he's got his nightcap on there, drinking his, the bedtime tea, whatever they drink. But thank you guys so much for joining us today. You can find Carl and myself on Twitter, Carl at Carl Dumler, MHH, and myself at Nick Kendell, MHH. Also, guys, make sure you're following Scott on Twitter at Scout Kennedy. Scott and I will be going live on his channel tomorrow, so come join us in the morning over there. You guys can also follow us at Twitter, at BTB Football Pod, and at Mile High Huddle. If you're at Facebook today, join us at facebook.com/Mile High Huddle and facebook.com/Mile High Huddle Pod. If you're joining us on YouTube today, please subscribe, like, and share. It's not just this show. It's Broncos for Breakfast. It's Dove Valley Deep Divers. It's a Huddle Up podcast. We got so much content for you constantly and for you guys to interact. And it's, we're the host, whatever. We're up here babbling away, but it's really the community that makes this a special place. And congrats to Scott and any Braves fans out there. Andrew Mason, also a big Braves fan, and the Braves just advanced to the NLCS. So I guess I'll be pulling for the Braves because I can't stand the Dodgers or the Giants. Barry Bonds soiled them for me, and the Dodgers just annoy the heck out of me. Mm-hmm. So go Braves, I guess.
Woo-hoo.
And also Houston. Did Houston advance? Yeah, I'm a Braves fan now. I guess that's what it is because I don't like any of the other teams. So I don't know. Carl, any thoughts before we get on out of here? Obviously, we appreciate you coming back to stateside so you can join us anymore. So Scott can I can stop talking Scott's ear off. Poor guy. He's probably getting real tired of this mug.
Well, I just want to say, hey, thank you to everyone in the comments. I've been trying to follow everybody, just all the thank yous and welcome backs and congratulations. And it just means the world to me to see that. And, like I said, I've missed all of this of being a part of building the Broncos and Mile High Huddle, and just excited to be back and talking some Bronco football. And this is fun. This really is. I look forward to this every Tuesday. And so just appreciate you guys making this a great welcome back party for me. And now I'm going to go get some sleep because I didn't get home until like 4 a.m. last night.
Man, I just made some enemies in here with the Giants and Dodgers fans. Sorry, guys. Carl and I are both bitter Cardinal fans, and we, feel like everything belongs to us. So we'll see you guys next time. Stay safe. I'll see some of you guys, I'm sure, on Scott's channel tomorrow. And we love you guys. Keep it real. Keep it safe. And go Broncos. Beat the brakes off the Raiders. God, Raider hate week. Hate them.
You've been listening to Building the Broncos. Join Broncos Country's deep divers at milehighhuddle.com to keep the conversation going.